invited to be a part of it. Thank you very much for coming. And at this point, I would like to introduce Scott. Where is Scott?
Right here.
Scott. He's going to be our help, your help for the family. Anyway, today,
Or
Scott.
maybe no help.
Bad help? Good help.
Could be anything.
We want to share with you, Scott, excuse me, this delightful plaque that we have made up. And this will go into our City Hall display case at the other end of the building. And it has on it Dick and Beryl Schoonover family as our heritage family that we have once a year through the Historical Society.
Thank you.
And so that will go. And at the same time, Scott, if I want to set that back on the table.
Sure.
Can you, I don't want to trip over the wires.
No, I'm good.
Want to also award this over to the Schoonover family. This is a certificate as the Family of the Year for 2025. It's just a delightful certificate. Thank you. And I just want to make a personal note. My name is Lou Slayton. I serve under Jackie as Vice President. And for those of you who have been just courteous enough to ask after Jackie, she's doing well. She has a wonderful medical team, and we are expecting 100% recovery, as we're told by her and the medical team and her husband. So we are delighted to be able to share that much information. She will be back, and we're delighted. Scott, I'm gonna let you do your thing. Michelle, you have till noon.
You're all like,
What? Really?
thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, just want to thank everyone for this honor to our family. We have a lot of memories of Shoreview, not only with the business and the history of the business, but with other things too. Like all three of us played hockey. We played at Mounds View. Thanks to the support of our mother, which I'd like to recognize, Pearl. Without our mother, I don't know where we would be, but she is the vine that ties us. So, also, we just want to say thank you for coming here. This is such an honor. I must say it's a little awkward, but it's an honor. I'm the same. So, we all grew up in the family-owned business. You probably know. We started at a young age. Dad taught us. Our father, Dick, taught us really strong work ethics that all three of us carry into today. He's given us so much to give back. And it's sad that he's not here, but he's in our hearts. So with that, I can remember all of us he started us by just sweeping floors when we were like below 10 years old. And his theme was always telling us, I don't want anyone to think that you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth. And he owned that. I could say that for myself because I was basically hired and fired by my dad probably 8 times. He'd call me right back hours later and say, get your butt back here. So, but it's all good. So, what I would like to do is just share the time with my brothers and if my mom would like to talk, just a little bit about their perspective of living in Shoreview, and the memories they have that they could share with you as well. So, Jeff or Mike or Jeff?
I'm the oldest. Best looking. Do I need this? Do I need this?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I'm Jeff. I'm the oldest of the bunch. So we moved to Shoreview. We moved to Shoreview in '66, I believe. Isn't that correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah. We lived on Chatsworth, right behind San Odelia and Island Lake School. My memories of our years in Shoreview, I have great memories of Shoreview. Those were the Ray Croix homes. I don't know if anybody remembers that. That's what they were called back then, the Ray Croix homes. And Hills of Homes. And I remember living in that area, and I don't know how kids do it now, but we would disappear in the morning, and my mom wouldn't see us until the end of the day. She had no idea where we were. We didn't have cell phones back then, so we would just take off and we'd be gone. And it was fun growing up in that area and in that era. And we walked to Island Lake School to go to school every day. I don't remember any flag patrols or anything like that. We just walked to school. And there was a ice rink. So we started, Scott and I don't know if you did, but Scott and I started, when we first started playing hockey, we played on the freeway rink, which is still there, on Snelling and Conner Road E. It's interesting they call it the freeway rink, but I wouldn't call Snelling a freeway. But it was then, I guess, yeah. So that's where we started playing, and then I do remember at some point in time we started playing back on Vivian Rink behind San Odelia, which isn't there anymore. The rink's not there; it's houses now. But my best memories of growing up in Shoreview are pretty much all around hockey, I have to say. And thanks to Barb's husband, we have hockey out here. Playing at the Vivian Rink back there, we'd go there in the morning and we'd come home in the dark, and I remember some mothers bringing us hot chocolate and going in the warming house because our feet were freezing, and I just remember that was a lot of fun. But I just have great memories of growing up in Shoreview, and we made I don't want to keep this a hockey focused discussion, but I owe a lot to hockey. We met some great people over the years. I was just talking to Mike Cunningham. I never played with anybody in his family, but I played against his brother Jim, who scared the heck out of me. I just remember every time I went on the rink with him, I thought, oh my God, he's going to kill me. But he was a great guy, and so we met some great people. We had Tom Gorns was my coach when I was at Bantam, and Bob Quick was the assistant coach. And when I was Pee Wee, it was Ralph DeYoung and Ken Wiltzine, and it was great times. And going to Island Lake School, I've always wanted to go to Island Lake School and see what it's like now, see how much has changed. I remember when the old school was in the front. What do they call it? Wilbur Lake? Wilbur Lake School? I don't think I ever went in that building ever, but I know it was out front. And my teacher, Mrs. Wickland.
I think we all had Mrs. Wickland. Yeah.
She scared me.
Yeah.
She scared me. But I learned something with her. I remember one time we had a kid in my class who was always in trouble. And I won't use his name. Actually, he lived by the Waddells, though. 2 doors down. Okay. Yeah. I won't mention his name. But anyway, I stayed after class once with Mrs. Wickland, and she scared me. She was a scary lady. She had taught in the Wilbur Lake School when it was first opened, I think. She had been teaching since like 1948. And anyway, she had the biggest heart. I learned something because after we were talking about this individual that was having difficulties, and she talked to me sort of on person-to-person level. And I walked away from that thing like, wow, she's an incredible woman. So I didn't fear Mrs. Wickland after that. She was a really cool lady. So anyway,
I heard Mrs. Wickland, we did, and she said to me, she said, I had your 2 brothers and you better not cause any trouble. She was mean.
Yep, she was. What's that?
She commanded respect.
Yeah, she did. She did command respect.
Do you remember the knuckle hitting thing?
I do. I thought maybe I was imagining that. Now that you mentioned it, I do remember that. And then in my junior high years, I went to Johanna, and had great experiences at Johanna. I remember when the towers fell down, and this is how I knew they fell down. We would go out in the fields at Johanna, and we'd always see the towers and taller. And we come out one day, and there's no towers. It's like, where are the towers? I think it was in the 7th, 8th, 9th grade. I don't know what year it was, but and then that's when they had fallen down. So we found out later that they had fallen down. And then there was the fire in the fields there behind Conroe Road E. And I remember, so we came home. We were going to Breck at the time, and we came home and we were driving in. I think it's Harriet towards our home, and my dad was driving out, and it was late afternoon. We stopped and talked through the windows, and there was a small little fire starting in the field right there. It couldn't have been bigger than 5 feet in diameter. And he said, "I'm going to go take care of this." But that whole field became ablaze. And I remember fire trucks everywhere. There was 4 large propane tanks at the back of the building that they were worried about. The gas station was on the corner. They were concerned about that because this fire was out of control. And I do remember we were dragging cars across the street over to where the Ramsey County used to move that pile of dirt, I think, just to keep themselves busy. You remember that? Remember that pile of dirt over there? It's not there, but they would move the dirt pile, and then they would move it back, It never went anywhere. And they never did anything with the dirt. They just kept moving the pile. I never understood that. But we were hauling cars across the street, dragging them to get them out of the parking lot because we don't want the fire to impact the cars. And I remember my dad passed out on the front lawn there at the shop. The fireman had to give him oxygen and because he was stressed out from the whole thing. But that was a scary experience. But and then we moved out to Dawn Avenue over by Snail Lake, and I was in high school then, so wasn't around as much in my high school years. I had a high school girlfriend, and she lived in Minneapolis, so I was there all the time. Living in Shoreview has never left me. I mean, even though I don't live in Shoreview now, I live in Minneapolis, but just great experiences there. I met my first wife, Kathy. She's right there. We still talk to each other.
But how did we meet?
We fixed her car.
I got in an accident on Ramsey Road. And Schoonover towed it. So,
It was a little green Datsun.
yes, I only had it for 5 days.
Well, that I didn't remember. I didn't remember that.
My first car.
So that's how we met. In like 1979? Is that when we met?
The end of 78.
Okay. I got teased a lot about that too, that I ran over people to go help Kathy. So somebody, one of the other people in the shop said that he had tread marks on his back.
I actually remember that.
Yeah.
And I was the one that you like blasted through.
Oh, I don't remember. But,
I'll handle it, Scott.
Yeah. But we ended up having a daughter together, Alyssa, who's here, and we have 2 great grandsons back there. 2 wonderful grandsons, I should say. Jackson and Maddox. Hi, boys. So, anyway, I've talked long enough. I'll let Mike talk for a while. But I've had great memories of Shoreview. It's a wonderful place to live and grow up. And I have nothing but wonderful things to say and just fond memories of growing up in Shoreview. It's a good move, Mom. Leaving St. Paul and moving out to Shoreview was a good move.
That was mine.
You've done good. Yeah, you've done good.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
You're the funniest one of the family. I didn't know you could do a stand-up routine. We should do this more often. Hey everybody, thanks for coming out today. This is, like Scott said earlier, this is a wonderful opportunity and quite the privilege, and we really appreciate it. But it is rather humbling and a little awkward that we're talking about our family here. But but we really appreciate this so much. So, so I'm the baby of the family. I'm the spoiled brat. There's what, 4 years between you and me, and 6 years between you and me. So anyway, I grew up on my own. So these guys were off doing their own thing, and I just hung out with my friends and did my own thing, and spent a lot of time with Mom in the car. I had childhood asthma, so Mom and I would go down to St. Paul Allergy Clinic and get shots once or twice a week, I can't remember. And then a good trip down to Children's Hospital to go get, so I could breathe again. So anyway, a lot of quality car time with Mom. But you know, a couple of memories that I have that stick out is number one, being a walker for Island Lake School, of walking the 1,000-mile trip to school from Chatsworth up to Island Lake School. But that was a really good memory. But probably Sue Horn or Sue McNamara and whatnot, we graduated together from Mounds View. I don't know, and Lisa, I don't know if you remember this or not, but I think it was sophomore or junior year at Mounds View. You all recall we also had or maybe you don't remember, we had a towing company, and we had the contract for every single law enforcement entity in the north suburbs. And one of the last days of school, the seniors on their senior skip day, thought it would be a good idea to plug up the Circle Drive. And so Schoonover towing trucks showed up. It was the longest day of my school life. And I couldn't hide anywhere. So anyway, it was a little stressful. So family business did not do us well all the time. But I have my lovely wife, Gail, here, by the way. So we met a long time ago, not in Shoreview. I didn't fix her car. Yes. But you know, I've had the luxury or the privilege of being able to take on the family business. We all five worked together at a time, and then there was a period that we went. Dad was smart enough to get some counseling for us, some family business counseling, and so we went through some counseling and learned some things about our family, learned some things about ourselves, and came to the realization that not all of us should be working in the family business. So Jeff and Scott left the family business to go pursue some other careers and whatnot, and it was Dad and I that worked together and got to know Dad quite a bit, and traveling a lot and doing a lot of neat things. But he was a great mentor. He was driven. Dad was respected by many. We played, as Jeff and Scott had said, hockey was a big part of our life. And a young man that I played hockey with, who unfortunately passed away at a young age, by the name of Tony Pates. Tony was a Marine. Was set to be a Marine. He was at West Point, and anyway, he had told me that his favorite coach was Dad, and I thought that meant a lot coming from Tony, because Tony was a hard driver. He was disciplined, and for that to come from him, it really meant a lot to me. So very appreciative of Dad and what he did for our family, the things that he taught us. He was hard on us, but he was hard on us in a good way, because he wanted us to be good people and live a good life and be good to others. So, and then that carried through to our business. We have so many, hundreds and hundreds of former employees that work for Dad and just have nothing but high regard for him. So we're very fortunate, very blessed to grow up in that household. So thanks to Mom and Dad for giving us that upbringing. And so we're very, very fortunate. So, Mom, you want to say a word or two?
Oh, word.
Got it. Have you ever held a microphone? Let's get a picture of this. No, you need it. Come on.
My voice is big enough.
Do you want to stand? What do you want? Just stand there or lean on it? All right, there you go.
Ooh, my. that you all came. It's been a trip and a half with business. I worked there for a little while, and then I turned into a mother. I did what y'all have always. I thought, no, he's not yelling at my son. There's just no way. So I quit. But it was a good trip to that point. But I didn't need to be the mama. And I was the mama of these three. And I loved every minute of it.
We played hockey because of you. My dad wanted us to play basketball. And Mom said no.
Yeah, do these hands look like they can dribble?
But anyway, thank you so much for coming. It's quite an honor. I appreciate it all.
All right, Lou, now what? Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah, I would say that. Well, if anybody wants to come up, share their.
I'll share a story.
That would be great. Anybody that wants to come up and just share a story about the family, that would be wonderful.
As long as they're nice.
So I grew up by the Schoonovers when they lived on Chatsworth. And as I told Scott this morning, he was my walk patrol person, I don't know, safety patrol, and he was my favorite. Because when we would walk to Island Lake, he took his job so seriously. I just remember my memories of Scott is that he took that responsibility very seriously, and we walked in an orderly fashion every day to and from Island Lake School. And like they were mentioning, my dad was also very involved with Lake Region Hockey. And over the years, Schoonover Auto Repair, I know the name keeps changing, but they sponsored numerous hockey teams. So we have to give a lot of credit to Schoonovers for all the financial support they offered over the years to Lake Region. I don't know what we would have done without, Lake Region would have done without their help. And then I have a couple funny stories to tell you. One is, back in the early 70s, I inherited an iron bed, okay? And I still have it today, it's over 100 years old. But we stripped the paint and we took it up to Schoonover Auto Repair, and it was painted 1974 Cadillac white. And so in addition to cars, they can do beds. And the other thing is, my dad, Dick Weedall, was good friends with Dick Schoonover, and I remember on my dad's 40th birthday that Burl and Dick came over and they had a surprise birthday party for my dad on the front lawn. And I just remember there was Over the Hill or something, and they served coffee and rolls or something like that. Yeah, so my parents were always very good friends with the Schoonovers. And then in the later years, I know when my sister was at Island Lake, my youngest sister, Laura, they hatched around this time of year at Easter. Her class, they hatched chickens. And my sister won in the lottery to bring the chicken home. So we had a pet chicken for several years, which was against city Shoreview ordinance, so we always had to say it's a white pheasant.
Is this when your dad was mayor?
Yeah, so we always had to say it's a pheasant. And so we learned that, and it was before YouTube, but for anyone who has a pet chicken, you can hypnotize them. All you have to do to a chicken is you put it on its back and you stroke its breast, and the chicken like goes to sleep. So Dick Schoonover would bring on various occasions his employees over to see us hypnotize the chicken. So and then we'd hypnotize it on the lawn, and then you clap your hands and the chicken would pop up and they're like, amazing! So we had a lot of fun, and I just remember, like, I I did not play hockey, my brother did, and my dad coached and everything, but Dick Schoonover was very active in flooding rinks, because back in the day, the city did not flood the city rinks. They would take their garden hoses and they would personally flood the rinks at Sitzer and Booker and Shamrock, and our rink was the Vivian rink, which was kind of a dump. Because Becky had to dog.
Remember the dog?
I don't remember that.
Oh.
Oh, that would run back and forth?
Yeah, run back and forth and watch the game.
But we were all little rink rats, and this warming house was just a dump. It was like a shed with like some kind of gas heater or something in there.
No better smell than wet plywood and heat.
And I just remember back when these guys played hockey, it was before a lot of kids could play indoors, so families would have to stake out a spot along these rinks, and it was in a snowbank. And you'd have to make sure you had warm drinks, like a thermos of coffee or hot chocolate or something. And those mom and dads, I mean, I can't imagine all the pain and suffering they had to go through all those hockey games. But Dick Schoonover was just so involved with it, and I have to thank the Schoonovers for everything they've done over the years to contribute to the city of Shoreview. Thank you.
Yeah, I learned some stories I forgot actually. So, anybody else wants to? Would you like to come up?
I'm Sandy Martin. It was my honor to serve as mayor for, hello dear. It's nice to see you. Thank you. So I have wonderful memories of the Schoonover family, and especially a huge appreciation for all that they've done to contribute to Shoreview community over the years. Their business, their family relationships, all of those things have made a huge impact on our city. And as I think I started to say, I served as mayor for 26 years, and before that, my daughter is a good friend of Mike's, went to school together, and so we always reconnect about that. But it's these contributions that they've made to the family and to the city, and I don't even know if everybody remembers this. I know Beryl will probably remember in 1973, we did not have a city hall. We had an old building on 96, and the mayor asked a couple of us if we would chair a referendum to approve enough money to build a city hall. And that was $500,000. Now the city now spends $500,000 like that, no referendums on it. But that was a big deal, and Dick Schoonover was on my committee, along with Dick Tyson, I think, and we had no idea what we were doing. I mean, we didn't know, and we ran, and we called it Let's Have a Hall, because we needed a city hall, and that was our theme, was let's have a hall. That's when I first got to know Dick, and we got it done. We got it approved, and that was the city hall that has now been torn down, and Summer House is in its place. So that's how long ago it was. So I had these wonderful memories of working together and your family playing such a big role in our city. And now Mike's on the Economic Development Commission, giving back again even more. And so thank you, and also thank you to the Historical Society for creating this Heritage Family category. It's wonderful to be able to recognize some of these great families over the years in Shoreview, and the Schoonovers are absolutely at the top of that list. So I just had to say that because I'm glad I was here to see all of you. Thank you.
Anybody else like to come up, share any memories or things? Would you like to? What? I'm not talking to you, but
Well, the Schoonovers and us go back, but, oh, I'm Barbara Gleitner. And my husband and I met at Murray when we were in 10th grade. And a few years later, Dick and Beryl met at Murray in 10th grade. And then we came out to Shoreview, being a little older, we were here a little sooner. And our kids got to be good friends with their kids. Mike and my Matt were buddies all the way through and still are. And Dick and Burl and Tom and I all had a lot in common with hockey, and so I attended a lot of rings.
Do you remember our dinners at Four Posts?
Yeah,
Yeah.
dinners at Four Posts, all kinds of memories. I couldn't even begin to explain them all, but
I know.
they're very special. And I congratulate you for being Historical Family of the Year, and you really deserve it, and we're all really proud.
So much. You know, it brings back memories too. Like I think Jeff, did you play for Tom Wiglander?
No,
Coach?
no.
Well, I did. When I was in 9th or 10th grade, and I got to know all the Wiglander hockey players. And Ted was like my favorite. He was so tenacious, and he was always on the go. He was like the Energizing battery, just skating all over the place, highly competitive. He was the guy that I didn't want to ever play against because he was so competitive, and actually it was a little intimidating too. So I also wanted to mention too, I graduated with Kathy in 1978, so we share a lot of memories from Mounds View High School, and a lot of things come up to me like the Shifsky family. They owned the bowling alley, and we went to school with Alan, I believe, and great gymnast, great family as well. And it's just, there's so many ties to our community in Shoreview. Like Jeff said earlier, it's just something I'll always keep in my heart for the rest of my life. So anyway, thank you for being here.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Can you give just a short history of your business? Like, because it used to be on Snelling.
Yeah, I did. I think I'll divert that to Jeff, because Jeff has a better history of that.
I'm older.
So. Yeah. And I love it when he says that. He just keeps saying that, bro.
I'll leave the smart aleck comments. Like who looks older. But anyway, so the business got started in 1938 by my grandfather. And the story is he started on a borrowed $50. He borrowed the money from Harold Slowick, who was the original owner of Midway Ford, and also built Harmar Mall. Does anybody know what Harmar stands for? Harold and Marie Slowick. Harmar. So anyway, so he borrowed $50 from Harold Slowick, and he built the shop. And it was originally down, I think it was Pryor University, way before ours, right? Okay. And I'm not sure how long it was there, but then it moved from Pryor University to 97 North Snelling, which is down towards Summit. And so there's some pictures up here of it. Some of the ones with the older vehicles in front of it. You can see the 97 actually on one of the signs out front. Anyway, so it was at 97 North Snelling. Again, I don't know how long it was there. And then my grandfather moved it to 571 North Snelling, which that building is still there, by the way. I used to cut the grass there. This is Boulevard. You might see it here, but there's a boulevard on the two corners of the
What was the cross street area?
Edmond. Yeah, Snelling and Edmond. So there used to be a car wash across the street, which the building is still there. I think it's Taco Bell or something. I don't know. It's something else. Anyway, but
And your grandpa's name was Red?
yeah, Chuck, Red, yeah. He died in '66, I believe. So they moved the business to 571 North Snelling, and it was there for a number of years. I don't know how long it was there. And then I think it was in the early '70s, my dad thought that area of St. Paul was on the decline. And
Dad took it over when he was 23.
he was 20?
27.
27?
Sorry.
So, okay, so my dad took the business over when he was 27. So he was relatively young. but he felt that the Midway area of St. Paul was on the decline and he wanted to move business. So he chose Shoreview.
Where they had a
And-
dirt pile.
Yeah, right across the dirt pile. But it was a farm, I guess. There was a farm there or something. At the time, other body shop owners thought my dad was nuts. Why would you want to go out there? There's nothing out there. You know, they were telling me like, this is crazy. You want to go out there? That's just makes no sense. But turns out he was right. And that was one thing about my dad. He had great vision. And I have to say, my brother Mike has the same thing. He inherited that gene of my dad's. I don't have that.
Do you wanna go back and start over?
No. No, it's okay. So then the business moved, I think it was 73 when I went to Shoreview. And isn't that about the time we moved to Chatsworth? It was about that same time? Yeah, okay. And then over time, the business has evolved and changed, and then there was the biggest transformation involved was just in the last year, 2 years, with the construction that Mike and Gail have done on the building now. So if you haven't seen it, you got to go see it. And tell Mike he needs to give you a tour. This is pretty impressive, I have to say. So that's the history of the business. Did I answer that question?
You did?
Yeah, and I also wanted Mike to say something about Play for Patrick.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
There you go.
Thanks, bro. For those of you who don't know, Keel and I have 4 kids. Abby and Anna are in their late 20s. Patrick, who passed away in 2014, would be 25. Yeah. And then our son Matthew, who is 22. So back in November of 2014, Gail and I brought Matthew and Patrick up to Brainerd for a hockey tournament. Patrick was playing for the Eastview Bantam AA hockey team in a highly competitive tournament called the Blue Ox. And so they were playing on a late afternoon Friday game. Yeah, one more reason to play hockey and get out of school. Field trip.
I wasn't gonna let him out early, but Dad said it was okay.
Family bonding. Anyway, we were playing. He was playing in the game and ended up scoring the game's first goal against Wayzata. He was pretty excited. We do have a picture on the website of Patrick celebrating with his buddies who are all a year older than him, who he looked up to, and you can just see the smile on his face. So, and it was just a little bit after that he got checked and he suffered sudden cardiac arrest. And we did not know that he had 2 heart defects. He had a coarctation of his aorta, which is a twisting of a major vessel on top of the heart, and then he had a bicuspid aortic valve. So he developed an aneurysm, and when he got checked, the aneurysm burst. So Gail and I were just miserable, and then when we learned about how he passed away, we were just like, he had physicals and nothing was ever said, and all sports physicals, everything was all thumbs up. So we decided at the time that we wanted to start something because we didn't want parents to feel what we felt, and it seemed like this was kind of a waste because he could have been found, because he did have a high blood pressure and nothing was ever said. So part of our mission, so we started the Patrick Schoonover Heart Foundation in 2015, and our mission is to bring awareness to sudden cardiac arrest and to try to eliminate kids from, the opportunity for kids to pass away from that. So we do Play for Patrick heart screens. We've done 38 heart screens in the last 10 years, and we've screened over 6,000 kids. We found 300 and some odd kids with high blood pressure, and we found another 300 and some odd kids with either electrical or structural heart defect. And some of them have been, life-changing. And so we're pretty proud of what Patrick's life means to others in making a difference and doing good work. The foundation also donates AEDs to host schools, and we've also committed to the city of Shoreview to donate an AED here at the park, as well as the new Dyson remodel across the street from Island Lake. So hopefully in the next couple of months those will be installed, and those will be ready for use for if and when they're needed. We're installing them near pickleball courts, and it sounds like Shoreview now is the hub of pickleball. So hopefully they won't need to be used, but they're there if they're needed. So anyway, so we're honored to be able to do the work for Patrick and his memory and make his life worth something and helping others. So it's our privilege to be able to do that. So thank you.
Well, I think that's about it, unless somebody else wants to come up and share any memory that you might have. Anyway, thank you all for being here. It's been an honor, and we're very humbled by everyone here, family, friends, the memories you shared, the honor. And again, I want to emphasize that my mom was the vine that tied us together. Without her, there would be no Schoonover Body Works in Shoreview. There would be no legacy. There would be no hockey players. There wouldn't be any of those things. She is the strength of our family, and she has brought us through so many difficult times, and we love you for that, Mom.
Thank you all. And these stories were wonderful, just wonderful. And they're all part of your history, but they were also part of Shoreview Historical Society history, and we are delighted to be able to share it with the community. Absolutely. You may now just enjoy all the treats at the side table back there, and we have newsletters and whatever you are missing. And if you have any questions, you had at least 3 or 4 of us here, 5 of us that can answer, and we welcome you all to an enjoyable afternoon and a great Easter. Thank you.